Here we go with a 1 month follow-up of me wearing these two shoes for the month of September, my shoe rotation. But there's a couple surprises here: the New Balance More V5 and the Topo Atmos. I guess you can call it a V1. In that it wasn't a split difference between the month because something happened with the New Balance Fresh Foam X version 5. Okay, so we're just gonna get that out of the way right now and clear the air. So this New Balance V5, the More here, performed very well as far as running goes, for the most part, in that it's, got quite a bit of a wide landing platform towards the midsole, a nice squishy all around semi-energetic, rebound of the midsole, and an okay lockdown from here up, with zero heel slippage. The toe box is leaving a lot to be desired in that it has quite a bit of width, but you can see how taut the material is from the tip of the toe here to the vamp of the shoe. It dips down and it's tight, and there's no give at all to the height of it. So fast forward to what we're doing here. Wearing the shoe just in and around the office and regular activities and walking and standing. I work in an office and, I'm standing all day long because I just refuse to sit because my back just hurts so much if I sit too long. That's just me getting old is all it is. So, all right. Anyways, and so what I can tell you is that the softness of the V5, it didn't work for me because it felt like I was swimming in mashed potatoes all day long. Like I would come down on the heel. At the beginning of the day, whenever my feet and legs and everything else was fresh, it was good. But I felt I was working against the thing all day long. And stable wise, pivoting and cutting and going in different directions other than the forward light direction was very awkward and clunky. But I won't knock the shoe for that because that's probably not what it's for. It's more of a walking shoe. It's more of a running shoe. And I would say probably for, regular, bouts of running and regular bouts of walking, it's fine. But, by the end of the day, my toes on the tops here were just getting pinch, all in the top here. This toe box that had, very much a roof to it. And then of course, the midsole was just so squishy by the end of the day. I would come down on that heel, try to roll through, and it was just again, sinking into quicksand. And then enters the Topo Atmos, my favorite shoe of 2024 for running. And then here we are, fast forward for walking. Woo-wee! Bottom line up front, everybody, I really enjoyed it. This is just a nice shoe. All right, it's Topo's most highly cushioned shoe. It's a little bit firmer than some of the other. It's definitely a lot firmer than the Fresh Foam over here. It's a little bit firmer than the Phantom 4 waterproof that I got the other day. It's definitely a lot firmer than, say, the Vista, which is, the 2025 offerings, but just to think about it here. But the thing I really like about this one is actually that firmness. I have noticed that over the month, the midsole has softened up quite a bit, but not to the point of it being too much, too soft. It is bouncy, it's energetic, it's nice, and it's supportive, and my feet feel awesome, and my body feels great. Everything from the foot up towards the end of the day. And I want to keep going. And again, I was just doing all my dad chores, dad activities, dad cab, or dropping the kids off and that. So, life was good, man, sitting at work. And, I really like this big wide toe box. And now that we're talking about it, look at the height of these two toe boxes. You can see how the taunt material of the More V5 is there. And then you've got this loose, more forgiving toe box here for the Topo here. There's all kinds of movement there, and my toes never officially touched the area, but even here, so here's the top of the toe box material here, but where my hand is, it's even lower because there's another layer of material that's underneath there that makes contact with those toes, and it makes contact with the toes all the live long day, and it's not okay, not for me anyway. I like a little room for the piggies in there, if you know what I'm saying. Anywho, big fan of the breathability here, big fan of the lockdown. These laces never ever came untied, and it was just a pleasant distribution of weight and pressure across the top of the foot. The cushion here was just the right amount, and there was no need for this big pillow of cushion to lock that foot in, because the heel did the job and the upper did the job here with the lacing and everything. As far as the outer goes, I will say that there is quite a bit of traction that was noticeable for the Atmos here. So great job. You know, I was a big fan of this shoe last year, big fan of this shoe this year. You know, it's coming up on being probably more than a year old, so I would imagine that, you know, this might be bound to be on sale at some point. And you know, I would check it out. It's considered a neutral shoe. It's there's a stack out on your screen, but it's a it says it right here. Look at that, 5 millimeter drop. So you know, the difference between the heel and the forefoot is 5 millimeters. But you know, and I'm still trying to like pick my way through how I interpret and how I speak to and how I want to personally accept like drops. Like I'm not super worried about the accuracy per se of like, you know, one source for measurement and the other source, but I am interested in you know, there is you know, the ground to the top of the footbed here. We can call this the insert, we can call this the sock liner. I know I'm going on a tangent here. And then of course the midsole material. You know, that's the shoe by itself, you know, per gravity, right? On room air, right? As we say in the medical field, is on room air. But the moment that like that number doesn't mean a whole lot for anything. Like, you know, should we have a standard of measure for you know, how many newtons and how many pounds we put into a shoe and then measure? Also, if you have a firmer midsole compound versus a softer midsole compound, obviously things are going to deform and change a lot more based on weight inserted into the shoe. And then on top of that, say you know, it's a stated drop of 5 millimeters. Well, let's just say that you know, a 70 kilogram person runs in this, like say like for a heel strike, does that 5 drop down to more like a 1 or 0, you know, with the squishing of the foam? And, you know, considering 0 drop shoes, does that almost become a negative where, you know, the 0 in the heel drops down to negative numbers versus the forefoot, or vice versa, or what have you? All right, there, tangent over. I'm just saying, like, I'm going through a process right now of trying to you know, figure out drops and midsole thicknesses and all that stuff, and may never ever have an answer. And there could be just this like debate in the world of like podiatry and shoes and stuff like that. Oh, and since we're on the topic, what about the softness of foam and then the allowable excursion of a person's foot? Meaning that you know, if you know, you have a higher drop initially, and then, you know, it's a certain durometer, you know, based on the person's weight and their gait pattern, is the motion going to be considerably different there versus, you know, something lower, a 6 or a 4 mil drop. Also the durometer of the, of that, you know, second drop, you know, basically considering the foot motion that, you know, maybe wasn't, you know, thought about in the initial makeup of the shoe, right? So just some things to think about, you know, as we're going along this rant here. But I digress. Anyways, so I weigh $170, you know, and I'm 6 foot tall, and I had zero problems. In fact, I really enjoyed the split posterior here of the shoe coming down on it, because I can feel these like little independent suspension wishbone pieces here. And I will say that the medial nubbin, if you want to call it, protrusion here, seemed to capture that motion as it came down. It really led to just a nice smooth roll through for the shoe. So very happy with the Topo here. So I just wanted to put out like a little something, you know, spent the month in the shoe here, been thinking about it. I really wanted to do like a split half and half, because you know, I was really a big fan of this, and still am a big fan of this. You know, I know I poo-pooed it here in the beginning of the video, but you know, the lens of this update, 30 days on feet, you know, is going to be different. And I suppose that's one of the reasons why I do that, is to get more information about a shoe and how it affects me, you know, over the long term, you know, hours instead of minutes, all right, in like days, and, you know, close to a month and weeks, just to kind of see how the foot changes over time, and introducing it to various scenarios, what have you, and whatever might pop up that originally wasn't there during the regular review and stuff. So that's what that's all about. Anywho, that's all I got, everybody. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. I see that we are over 1,200 subscribers, and I want to thank each and every one of you guys personally for giving me a chance, taking the time, your valuable time out of your valuable day to hear me carry on about shoes. And I am so grateful. I see the comments, and I'm really happy to engage, and I love this stuff. So let's keep that going. You guys are awesome. You can hear the dog in the background. That's what this is. My name's Jason. I'm a nurse practitioner in podiatry. Love hanging out, talking about shoes, and we're all about family and coffee and running shoes. So have a good one. Have a happy fall. October's coming up. Happy Halloween. You guys take care.